Stop wasting time. Right now. Seriously. How many times have you told yourself you're going to get started tomorrow, only to find yourself stuck in the same cycle of delay and regret? We all do it. We've all been there, waiting for the perfect moment, for the right mood, or for some kind of sign that it's finally time to take action. But here's the hard truth. That moment never comes. What if I told you that the key to breaking this endless cycle isn't about motivation or willpower, but a philosophy that's over 2,000 years old? I'm talking about Stoicism, an ancient mindset that's incredibly powerful in overcoming procrastination, and it's not just for philosophers or history buffs. Stick around because in this video, I'm going to show you how Stoic principles can completely shift how you approach tasks, stop waiting for motivation, and get you into action right now. If you're tired of putting things off and want practical tools to take control of your time, you're in the right place. Trust me, by the end of this, you'll have a mindset shift that actually works. So hit that subscribe button, keep watching, and let's dive into how you can use Stoicism to defeat procrastination for good. Number 1. The Embrace the Pain protocol. You know what? We've all been there, the looming to-do list that just won't quit. The email you need to send, the project you've been avoiding, the phone call you know is long overdue. It's like there's an invisible force field surrounding the tasks that make you feel uncomfortable or uneasy, and somehow, poof, they keep getting pushed to tomorrow. Now you might be thinking, but isn't procrastination just a natural part of life? Yes, it feels natural, but here's the thing. What if I told you procrastination isn't just about putting things off? What if it's also about avoiding the discomfort of getting started? I know, sounds a bit harsh, but bear with me here. Think about the last time you avoided a task because it seemed too daunting. Maybe it was a tough conversation or something that required more brain power than you were willing to invest. You told yourself, I'll get to it later, or I'll feel like doing it when I'm in the right headspace. But deep down, we both know the truth. It wasn't the task itself you were avoiding, it was the discomfort that came with it. And that discomfort? Well, that's where things get interesting. This is where the Embrace the Pain protocol comes in. Wait, hear me out before you roll your eyes. I'm not suggesting you live in misery all the time. What I'm saying is this. If you want to beat procrastination, lean into the discomfort instead of running from it. Think about it. When you tackle the most uncomfortable part of a task first, everything else gets easier. You ever notice how the anticipation of something stressful can be worse than the actual experience? That's because your brain is wired to overestimate the pain and underestimate your ability to handle it. Imagine you have to write a report. It's due tomorrow, and instead of diving in, you pace around your room like a maniac, finding random distractions. Maybe I'll organize my desk first, or I'll just check my phone for a second. Sound familiar? I've been there. But here's the twist. Instead of avoiding that first scary step, the beginning, just dive in head first. Stop thinking about it. Just start typing. Trust me, the hardest part is almost always the moment you begin. Once you get going, the task is no longer this monstrous thing you can't approach. You've already chipped away at it, and the rest feels like a breeze. I remember this one time at work. I was tasked with writing a report on a project that was dragging on forever. It had so many moving parts, and I was overwhelmed before I even started. I stared at that blank screen for an embarrassingly long time, convincing myself I couldn't possibly work on it until I had everything organized perfectly. But then I thought, nope, I wasn't going to let perfectionism paralyze me. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and just typed the first sentence. Whatever sentence came to mind, the report came together. Not perfectly, but solidly. And you know what? It didn't take as long as I thought. The pain of getting started was far worse than the actual task. By embracing the discomfort, rather than avoiding it, you unlock a power that procrastination doesn't stand a chance against. Here's the kicker. You'll feel like a champion. Every task you tackle this way is a win in itself. Not only have you completed something that was nagging at you, but you've proven to yourself that you can handle the discomfort, face it, and move beyond it. You've reclaimed your time and your energy. This is about more than just checking off a task. It's about taking back control, your space, your peace, and your dignity. You're no longer a prisoner to procrastination. You've broken the chain by doing the very thing that felt impossible. And that, my friend, is a victory worth celebrating. Next time you're staring at that task you've been avoiding, remember, the pain is part of the process. The moment you embrace it, the power is in your hands. Your space, your peace, your dignity, and that's a level of freedom you deserve. Number 2, the fire and forget technique. Have you ever caught yourself obsessing over the smallest details of a task? The color of the email you're about to send, whether that report has just the right tone, or if you've triple-checked everything one last time, it's like you're paralyzed, caught in this endless loop of overthinking and tweaking. But here's a little secret. What if I told you that perfectionism might actually be the thing that's holding you back from getting anything done at all? Yes, trust me on this. There's a powerful yet simple strategy to stop spinning your wheels and start making real progress. It's called the fire and forget technique. Now, I can already hear some of you, but doesn't it matter if things are perfect? Look, I get it. We've all been there, trying to make everything just so, convinced that one more change will make all the difference. But here's the truth. That perfect version you're chasing doesn't exist. The more you focus on it, the more paralyzed you become. The real key to overcoming procrastination and perfectionism is this. Stop overthinking and just fire it off into the world. Then forget about it. It's like hitting send on that email and immediately moving on to the next thing without looking back. Let me break it down for you. The fire and forget technique is exactly what it sounds like. You commit to doing something, give it your best shot, and then release it. No second guessing, no rereading for the 100th time. You launch it out there and you let go. This doesn't mean you don't care about quality. It just means you don't get trapped in the cycle of never-ending revisions. It's about trusting your judgment, taking action, and letting the process unfold. Here's a real example from my life. A few months ago, I was asked to present an idea to a group of colleagues. Now, I know that imposter syndrome loves to show up at times like these. I could feel myself spiraling. Should I tweak the slides? Maybe I should rework that sentence to sound more polished. The truth was, I was getting so caught up in the details that I nearly talked myself out of doing the presentation altogether. Then I remembered the fire and forget rule. Stop overthinking, present the best I have at the moment, and move forward. So I did it. I gave the presentation without looking back, and guess what? It went great. Not perfect, but it worked. And the best part, I didn't waste time agonizing over it for weeks before. I just took the leap. This is what it really comes down to. The more you agonize, the more you trap yourself in a loop of self-doubt and inaction. Perfectionism keeps you stuck, but fire and forget frees you. This isn't about being careless. It's about being confident in your ability to create, share, and move on. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and emotional space. By using this technique, you stop letting perfectionism control you. You stop overanalyzing, second-guessing, and over-explaining. Instead, you act, you trust yourself, you release things into the world without fearing judgment. You let go of that crippling need for control, and instead, you take control by taking action. So, next time you find yourself paralyzed by the details, remember, fire, forget, and move on. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are waiting for you on the other side of perfectionism. You've got this. Number 3, the no tomorrow rule. What if I told you that tomorrow doesn't exist? I know that might sound a little dramatic, but hear me out. What if the real reason we procrastinate isn't because we don't have time, but because we keep giving ourselves the permission to do it later? I'll do it tomorrow, we say. But what happens when tomorrow comes? It's just another today, another chance to push things off. But here's the thing. If you keep putting things off until tomorrow, you'll never get anything done today. So, what if tomorrow didn't exist? What if today was the only day you had? Trust me on this. The no tomorrow rule is going to change the way you approach every task, big or small. We've all been there, right? That task that keeps getting pushed back. Maybe it's that report at work, or that phone call you need to make, or even just a conversation you've been avoiding. You know it has to be done, but the thought of doing it tomorrow seems much easier. I'll feel more motivated tomorrow, we tell ourselves, or I'll tackle it when I'm in the right mindset. But how many times have we told ourselves that, only to find that tomorrow never really brings the right mindset? Or worse, it never even comes. We let that window slip by, and the task gets bigger and more daunting every day. Here's the catch with the no tomorrow rule. It's about eliminating that safety net. It's about taking the pressure off tomorrow and saying, today is all I have, and today is when I'll act. No waiting for the perfect moment. No hoping that tomorrow you'll be in the mood to tackle it. Just do it today, right now. Yes, even if it's uncomfortable. Yes, even if it's inconvenient. Yes, even if it's not perfect. The beauty of this rule is that it forces you to act instead of getting caught in that never-ending cycle of procrastination. Let me give you an example from my own life. A few weeks ago, I had a project that I had been putting off for days. It wasn't that I didn't know how to do it. I had all the tools I needed. But somehow, every time I thought about starting, I found a reason to delay. I'll do it later, I thought. It wasn't until I caught myself getting ready to put it off again that I decided to apply the no tomorrow rule. Instead of thinking, I'll do it tomorrow, I told myself, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. So I sat down right then and there and started. Was it perfect? But was it progress? Absolutely. By the time I finished, I realized that all that worry, all that hesitation was just a result of me giving myself permission to procrastinate. The moment I told myself tomorrow wasn't an option, I got it done. This rule is about reclaiming your power over your time. When you live with the no tomorrow mentality, you stop letting procrastination control you. You stop putting off what you know needs to be done, and instead, you build a habit of acting now. You start to realize that today is the only day that truly matters. This mindset doesn't just help with productivity, it empowers you mentally too. It's about taking ownership of your actions and recognizing that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to take charge. You make your own moment, and that is powerful. So next time you catch yourself saying, I'll do it tomorrow, remember this. Tomorrow is just a myth. It's not real. What's real is today, right now. Your time is yours to control. Reclaim your space, your peace, and your dignity. The moment you stop giving tomorrow power over your actions, you'll start to realize that today, this moment, is all you need to get started. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are in your hands, and it's time to take action now. Number 4. The discomfort famine strategy. What if I told you that the discomfort you're avoiding right now is actually the very thing standing between you and your goals? I know, it sounds counterintuitive, right? We've all been taught to run from discomfort, whether it's that awkward conversation, that project you're dreading, or that challenging workout. But here's the twist. What if the discomfort is the key to the success you're craving? Stick with me on this one. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, you want me to intentionally make myself uncomfortable? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's time to flip the script on how you view discomfort. Imagine you're in the middle of a tough situation. Maybe it's a presentation at work or a conversation with a friend you've been avoiding. You're already feeling that pang of dread in your stomach, right? We've all been there, when the thought of doing something that challenges us feels like we're about to step into a war zone. So, what do? We procrastinate, avoid, and delay. But here's the strategy, the discomfort famine rule. Instead of running away from discomfort, you intentionally make it a part of your day. The more you experience discomfort, the less power it has over you. This isn't about creating misery for yourself. It's about building a mental toughness that transforms discomfort from something that paralyzes you into something that drives you forward. By starving yourself of comfort and leaning into those tough moments, you make discomfort lose its sting. You train your mind to embrace it rather than avoid it. Let me show you how this works. A few weeks ago, I found myself in a situation that involved confronting someone I was nervous about talking to. I could feel the resistance creeping in. Every fiber of my being wanted to avoid the conversation, make excuses, and do anything but face it. But I reminded myself of the discomfort famine rule. If I kept avoiding discomfort, it would keep controlling me. So I took a deep breath, approached the situation head-on, and had the conversation. And guess what? It wasn't as bad as I had built it up to be. Not only did I feel better after, but I also realized that by embracing the discomfort, I had grown. What this teaches us is that discomfort is not something to fear. It's a signal of growth, a sign that you're stretching beyond your comfort zone. This is where real change happens. When you stop shying away from discomfort, it no longer has a hold on you. Instead, you gain the power to push through, achieve things that once seemed impossible, and ultimately reclaim your peace and confidence. This is about building mental resilience. It's about showing yourself that you are stronger than the discomfort you face. By adopting the discomfort famine strategy, you're taking control of your growth. You're choosing strength over avoidance, action over hesitation. Yes, it might feel awkward at first, and yes, it's not always going to be easy, but isn't that the point? You're actively building a future where discomfort no longer holds you back. You're reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. You've got this. So remember this. Every moment of discomfort is an opportunity for growth. The more you lean into it, the less it controls you. The discomfort is not the enemy. It's your ticket to a better, stronger you. Number 5, the no revisions principle. What if I told you that you could stop endlessly revising and just get things done? I know it might sound like sacrilege, especially if you're the type to tweak and polish every single detail until you're blue in the face. But here's the truth. Sometimes the endless cycle of revisions is what's keeping you from actually finishing the things that matter. You might be thinking, but wait, don't I need to perfect everything? Yes, trust me on this, you don't. The no revisions principle isn't about being sloppy or half-hearted. It's about stopping yourself from getting lost in perfectionism and actually moving forward. Let me explain. We've all been there, right? Staring at that one task or project that's been on your to-do list for days, maybe even weeks. You know it needs to be done, but you keep tinkering with it, refining it, editing it, only to realize that you're still not happy with the results. The revisions never stop, and suddenly that thing that should have been done yesterday is still sitting there, unfinished. Sound familiar? It's like you're running in circles, making progress, but never really completing anything. It's frustrating, isn't it? Now here's the game changer, the no revisions principle. Here's the deal. Once you finish something, you stop. You stop revising, you stop second-guessing, and you move on. This doesn't mean you turn in work that's sloppy or low effort. It just means you stop the cycle of perfectionism and let it be good enough to finish. You stop yourself from getting caught in the trap of what if I make it better. You acknowledge that no work, no project, no piece of writing or creation is ever truly perfect, and that's okay. It's about getting things done, not just endlessly trying to improve them. Let me give you a real-life example. A few months ago, I was working on a big presentation. I spent hours tweaking the slides, rewording my points, adjusting the visuals, until I realized I had spent more time editing than actually preparing my delivery. I was in the middle of yet another round of revisions when I stopped myself. I thought, what if I just let this be? What if I just finish this instead of constantly making it better? I hit save and moved on. The next day, I walked into the presentation, and guess what? It went great. The presentation was solid, my points were clear, and my delivery was confident. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. By not getting stuck in revisions, I was able to focus on what truly mattered, delivering the content effectively. Now, let's talk about how this impacts you emotionally. The no revisions principle is a total game changer because it's not just about productivity, it's about reclaiming your peace. When you stop endlessly revising, you stop letting that project or task consume your thoughts. You stop worrying about how it could be better, and you start feeling a sense of accomplishment because you're actually finishing things. You reclaim your time, your energy, and, most importantly, your confidence. Instead of overthinking and doubting yourself, you begin to trust that your first draft, your initial effort, is enough. And that is incredibly empowering. So, here's the takeaway. Next time you're working on something, whether it's a report, a project, or even just a simple task, remind yourself of the no revisions principle. Don't get lost in perfectionism. Finish what you start and then move on. It's about progress, not perfection. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are in your hands. The moment you stop revising endlessly, you'll realize that the most important part of any task is not the polishing, it's the completing. So stop revising and start doing. Finish it, move on, and feel the power of having accomplished something. Number 6. The evil genius mindset. What if I told you that the key to breaking through your toughest obstacles isn't kindness or patience or even hard work? It's embracing your inner evil genius. Now, before you start thinking I'm talking about being a villain, hear me out. The evil genius mindset is not about being malicious or cutting corners, far from it. It's about being strategic, bold, and thinking differently in a way that challenges conventional wisdom. This mindset isn't about playing by the rules. It's about bending them just enough to make them work for you. Trust me on this. You can tap into that rebellious, clever energy to get more done in less time, with less stress. We've all been there, right? Stuck in a situation where it feels like the system is working against us. You know the type. You've got an impossible deadline, a task you just can't crack, or a goal that feels out of reach. And what do? We follow the typical advice: work harder, stay longer, and keep grinding. Sound familiar? But what if there's another way, a smarter, more effective way to get ahead? This is where the evil genius mindset comes in. It's not about doing more, it's about thinking more cleverly. It's about asking, what if I could outsmart the challenge instead of just trying to muscle through it? Here's the twist. The evil genius mindset works because it taps into your natural ability to problem solve. Instead of pushing yourself into burnout with relentless effort, you shift your focus to outthinking the challenge. You get strategic. You think about the big picture, and you break down the problem into bite-sized chunks. each of which can be solved with an unconventional approach. It's like playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. You don't just react to obstacles, you anticipate them and you plan 3 steps ahead. This mindset doesn't rely on brute force, it relies on mental agility and the courage to think outside the box. Let me tell you about a time I had to put this into practice. A few years ago, I was handling a project that felt like it was going nowhere fast. The team was bogged down with repetitive tasks, deadlines were slipping, and we were all just treading water. Everyone was working harder and harder, but not making the kind of progress we needed. That's when I decided to take a step back and apply the evil genius mindset. Instead of just diving deeper into the work, I thought about the system we were operating in. I noticed patterns, inefficiencies, and opportunities to streamline processes. I suggested we cut out some of the redundant steps, focus on the high-impact tasks, and completely reframe how we were tackling the project. It felt like a gamble at first, but within days, we were back on track, working smarter, not harder, and hit our goals with room to spare. That's the power of thinking like an evil genius. Now think about the emotional benefits of this mindset. The evil genius approach isn't about hustling until you burn out. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. When you stop grinding endlessly and start outsmarting the situation, you actually gain control. You stop feeling like a hamster on a wheel, and instead, you start feeling like you're in the driver's seat. You regain your confidence because you realize you have the ability to tackle challenges not just through effort, but through ingenuity. You stop over-explaining your actions or doubting your decisions, and you start trusting in your ability to figure things out creatively. So here's your takeaway. Start thinking like an evil genius. Shift your focus from working harder to working smarter. Embrace your creativity, your strategic thinking, and the courage to challenge the status quo. This mindset isn't about cutting corners. It's about getting things done with precision, purpose, and a dash of boldness. You've got the power to outthink, outmaneuver, and outsmart whatever comes your way. So go ahead, embrace your inner genius, and start conquering the world, one clever move at a time. Your space, your peace, and your dignity are yours for the taking. Just think like the genius you are. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you rethink your approach to procrastination and gave you some practical tools to start taking action today. If you found value in what we discussed, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out the channel. And if you're hungry for more content on Stoicism and overcoming everyday challenges, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Also, share this video with someone you know who might benefit from it. Let's spread the word and help each other grow. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let me know how you've been tackling procrastination in your own life. Any tips or struggles you want to share? This is all about building a community where we can support one another. Remember, progress isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about making today count, even in small ways. You've got this. Keep pushing forward, and I'll see you in